driving me crazy, and I don't like him, and she's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really particularly like either of them, but yeah, I guess. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
We saw this in like Cruel Intentions too. This was like the weird relationship they had. I mean, it was way far over the top on this one, but you had the same kind of, they were going tit for tat and doing things like that. So I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think they're both going to get screwed in the end because they're just the middleman, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are running it, and Commodore O is not running it. She's being used. So everyone's going to get screwed in the end. I mean, otherwise, Picard's getting screwed in the end. So
yeah,
it better not go that way.
Yeah. Okay, so we have talked quite a bit. We need to get to Rios and his amazing ship. And did you notice the 2 EMH for the emergency medical hologram and the ENH emergency navigation hologram, and how they had different accents?
The extremely Irish one?
Yes, and the English accent for the EMH.
I didn't notice it so much with the EMH.
If you watch closed caption, the EMH says English accent and the ENH says Irish accent.
Does it really?
Yes, it does. And I thought, all right, we're still having every navigation, every engine person be Irish.
Overly Irish, too, by the way. Making, like, Catholic Irish statements.
Yes.
And, but I thought it was cool. I think it's cool that they have these different holograms, but, which then throws into question all that. That's a debate for another time.
Okay.
Well, no, because at one point in Voyager, we see that all the doctors from the Voyager were eventually sent to go work in the mines, and then there were newer versions of them, so this must be a newer version of them, but it's on an unregistered ship, so it should be an old version, so it really should look like the other doctor, not him. Whatever.
But I think he made it. I mean, obviously, it's in the image of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the creator of it, though, because he works for Starfleet, so obviously. It was great when Picard's being really smug. He's like, I smell it on you.
Yes. Every nut and bolt, and yes.
Yeah, that whole dialogue was great.
And then he's like, I hear you like to make speeches. I'm like, oh, yes, that is Picard. He will speak forever. So we get also a little tiny bit of backstory on why Rios is bitter towards Starfleet, because his last ship, the Ibn Majid, yeah. I have it there because I wrote it from closed caption, but I don't know how to say it. Ibn Majid. Let's try that. And how Starfleet apparently just deleted the record and it was never in existence. And
can I say this was the one problem I had with the whole show?
Yeah.
This is the one problem I've had with all 3 episodes. And I didn't complain last episode, and I didn't complain the episode before that. This is the one that I'm like, ugh. Because this one to me, and I could be totally wrong, but to me, this one feels like and see, you never heard about it, just like the Discovery.
Oh. Huh. I can see that connection. Because it was deleted. So,
right. Because so many fans screamed and yelled, whoa, how come we never heard of the Spore Drive? How come we never heard of the Discovery? How come we never heard of the first mutineer? Blah, blah, blah. And most of us, myself included, just said, because they wiped it out of the record books, let's move on. You can't rewrite the original series. You're not making new episodes. You're not going to do it on TNG or anything else. And honestly, if they only gave me stories that I heard talked about on TNG, I'd be annoyed because I already know those stories. You want to weave some of them in, like Captain Pike and stuff? Cool, I'm all right with that. But I don't want that to be the story because you told those stories. And honestly, they weren't worth your time 30 years ago to make a full story about, so let's not do it now. So most of us just said, all right, they wipe it from existence. But there was that group that screamed, yelled, and cried about, how can you just do that? Well, now they've done it twice.
Yep.
They haven't even told us they've done it to Discovery, but they're going to. And now they have another example of this.
Right.
So,
okay, yeah.
They have the ability to wipe it out. And that annoyed me because I don't need it.
Yeah. Good connection.
More important to that story was the fact that his captain died and haunts him. Yes. That, I feel bothers him more. And look, they tied it in together so it does make sense for the story to some degree, because the fact that his captain was splattered all over a bulkhead is now forgotten and not talked about. So he's never remembered properly.
Exactly. Doesn't have that honor and remembrance that Starfleet should.
But they could have done it all the way. They didn't need to have it disappear from the record books to have it be dishonored. They could have just said, to cover their own butts, Starfleet said that he was rogue. And you have the same exact story. In fact, I say you have a better story because if you ever need to revisit it down the line, you can always revisit the fact that he went rogue with his captain, and that's why Starfleet doesn't like him. And you can use that as plot points later on if need be. Now, the ship just doesn't exist.
Yeah, but him going rogue would be more of his choice, where I think his bitterness is rooted because he was exiled.
No, I'm not saying that the
same
ship
with Raffi.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the ship actually went rogue. What I'm saying is how they could have written it was they sent the ship to do something Black Ops, right? That's why you would erase the memory of a ship.
Right, yeah.
However, the captain dies, most of the people die on the ship, whatever, there's a battle, the ship is crippled, and Starfleet wipes their hands of it and doesn't wipe it from history books. It just tweaks the history enough that the captain decided to go rogue, and this is what he did. He didn't do it with Starfleet's permission, so he never gets a proper Starfleet burial. He never gets a proper Starfleet honors. Right. And then you can still use that fact later on in story points, whereas just wiping it away, well, what are you going to tell me about this later in 2 episodes? Because the ship doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's just how I would have written it better, in my opinion.
Okay, so can we just stroll down memory lane as the ENH says, hey, aren't you starstruck? It's Jean-Luc Picard. And I wrote these down because I remember each one in my TNG days. And he's like, chief contact with the Q continuum. Yes. Arbitrator of succession for the Klingon Empire. Thank you very much. Savior of Earth from the Borg invasion. Captain of the Enterprise D and E. And worked along the Great Spock. Man, that was just memory lane. I loved that so much.
Again, fan service done right.
Yes.
We love it, right? You're a TNG person. I grew up at the tail end of TNG, but watched it all. And I grew up throughout all of TNG. However, I didn't watch it till the tail end and then went back. And so we love it. But again, my wife doesn't affect her at all that she doesn't understand.
Yeah,
and look,
doesn't change the story.
Nope. She does actually know some of them because her favorite character is the Q.
Oh, nice.
She loves John Delancey. She actually met him at Mission 50 in New York.
Great.
Yeah. We met him because one of the apps was doing a promo where they'd have people sit and sign the cards, and we missed all of them except the last one was John Delancey. So we met him and got his autograph, and we met Beverly Crusher and got her autograph. I mean, Gates McFadden. Of course. But,
yes.
Yeah. But that one was specifically to my daughter.
Yeah.
So, and she doesn't remember any of it. She was so young.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, that was very nice. And then another thing that I absolutely loved. Listeners, I am a list maker. I am organized. I like having things in its proper place. And Dr. Agnes P. Girardi is now becoming my favorite because she lays out, you need me to go on this mission because A, da-da-da-da-da, B, da-da-da-da-da, C, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, I fell in love with her right at that moment. I am totally excited to see what Girardi is going to do.
I enjoy the character. She's not my favorite. Rafi's my favorite.
Yes, I like her too. And it was funny because one of my friends, Tim Robertson, was like, you're going to love Rafi. And I'm like, okay. After watching this, I'm like, nope, I love Girardi. Yes.
Rafi and me have a connection. We're going to punch in the face first.
Yeah.
And we'll deal with all the consequences later.
Yeah, and Rafi's like, who is this person? No. That was good.
I like Rafi, yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's going to be my favorite. I'm sure of it. Unless they totally botch this, she's going to be my favorite.
I'm liking Rios. They're playing him a little too bad boy, but I think he's going to come around.
Of course he is, and you got to go over the top because it's only 10 episodes.
And we met him with his shirt off. I'm just saying. Thank you.
Matters not to me. But whatever.
I just noticed that. I was like, oh my gosh, the first time we see him and he's shirtless. And then he puts on his shirt and see his abs. All right, I'll stop now. So, Bruce Maddox. Very excited. Do you think he's going to be the original character from, I mean, obviously character, but I mean actor from TNG? Because I haven't seen anything on social
I purposely don't look, so I don't know.
I mean, I haven't looked hard, but, usually those things pop up.
Yeah, I'm good at avoiding them. I'm very good at avoiding these kind of things. Like, I didn't know who was playing Hugh, so I didn't know it was him when I saw him. Like, I don't know any of these things. Luckily, during Discovery, I completely missed everything that Jonathan Frakes botched for the rest of us. And if it wasn't for the fact that there was like a 6-week layoff and I had to listen to all you talk about it, I would have never known. So,
yeah,
I'm usually pretty good at missing these things on purpose. I don't know. I mean, it would fit, right? Because the look would still fit timeline-wise. You know what? I want to say something about that, actually. We didn't talk about it. I meant to talk about it in episode 1. I find it amazing that life expectancy of humans is not that much more than it is right now in 2020.
Interesting.
You would assumed that with medicine getting so much better, people would live significantly longer. And now with space travel and being able to populate other worlds, you don't have the fight for resources like you would if this planet is becoming overpopulated or whatnot, or will eventually become extremely overpopulated as we live longer and longer. And with space travel, that alleviates that problem to a very large degree. And the fact that you have synthesizers for food and can change air molecules into them, but whatever.
Yeah.
So all of that taken into account, you would assume people lived much, much longer. But Picard is 20 years older than the last time we saw him. And when we first meet him, like, near death. I mean, I'm not saying, like, he's dying tomorrow, but clearly he's old and fragile and whatever he even says, I've just been laying here waiting to die or whatever. And so the lifespans have not gotten significantly longer. And I mean, 150, 200 years. Like, maybe 110 is a norm now, but really 80 is a norm now.
Yeah.
For us. And people live into their 105s and 10s now.
Yeah. I mean, as of this recording, we had Kirk Douglas, and he was 103.
Right.
Yeah.
So life expectancy did not jump a huge amount in the 20 years, right? But we were kind of under the impression that it had jumped a huge amount going into TNG. But it would seem that's not true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know what brought me back there at this exact moment, because I meant to talk about it 2 episodes ago. But
okay.
We jumping on the topic of jumping back. You asked about the submatrix collapse. We kind of talked about it and then immediately veered off and talked about the cards. So again, I think somehow Hugh's going to play into this, where they tried to delete the diagram that was going to destroy the Borg, the math problem of whatever. I forget what they called it. Remember they were going to load into him the whole thing to send him
the
back?
Virus.
Yeah, it wasn't. But the way they showed it was like, it was lines.
Yeah, but it was a
self-propagating math problem.
A digital virus. Oh, right. I love that you think it's a math problem. Okay.
So, it was. I mean, it is in computer world. I don't know what they explained it as in the show, but it is actually a math problem that would create that design on a screen that you'd need a really old computer to do at this point, or your computer would have to go, whatever. I did computers as a hobby. Sorry. And, but the idea is that this math problem replicates itself and keeps building larger and larger numbers. much like the way we now mine for Bitcoin.